What's up, guys? I am so excited today because we finally get to move on to a new chapter and we're starting some of my favorite stuff about mathematics, and that is algebra. And I don't want you to get scared when I say algebra because it's not harder math, it's different math. It's just a different way that we look at problem solving. We introduce a few new things, but um, if you've never been a very good person at like calculating like all the long multiplication or long division and stuff, then this stuff is for you because there's not a lot of it in here. We really focus on problem solving in a totally different way. So we're going to start off with powers and exponents today, and I'm really excited because it's a little bit different than what we're used to. So let's jump into it. First thing today, we're going to talk about exponents, and that's when you have, and you guys have seen these before, so nothing crazy yet. This is when you have a number like 5, like this, and then you have a like little number up in the top corner of it. Okay, now some people think that this means multiplication. That's not necessarily true. It's totally different than that. What these two numbers mean is that's the base, right? We call this big number down here the base. That's a really important number. That's a number that's going to get multiplied. Now, do we multiply it by this little number up here? Absolutely not. Don't ever do that. If I wanted you to do 5 times 2, I wouldn't write it like an idiot with a big 5 and a little 2, right? If I wanted you to do 5 times 2, I would write 5 times 2, okay? But that's not what I told you to do. I told you to do 5 to the power of 2. Now, this is where the exponent comes in. This little guy up here, exponent. Base, exponent. What this means to do is take the base, multiply it by itself. So you're going to take 5 times 5. And you're going to do that 2 times. You're going to multiply it by itself 2 times. So what this looks like here is you take the base and you multiply it by itself twice. So 5 to the second power, this is how we say this, right? Another way to say exponents is powers, okay? So we'll say 5 to the second power. You might also hear me say 5 squared because squares are two-dimensional, so it's just a fancy way to say it. But 5 to the second power is really 5 times itself 2 times, which is 5 times 5. And 5 times 5 is 25, not 10, okay? So let's take a look at a few other examples real quick of what I'm going to ask you guys to do today. I might give you problems like this. 2 to the third power. Don't make fun of my handwriting, guys. Okay? I don't need to hear it. Mind your business. 2 to the third power is this base right here. The 2 is really what we're focused on. That means we're going to do 2 times something. And we're going to take 2 and multiply it by itself 3 times. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2. That's what powers are. That's not 2 times 3. That's not 6, right? What this ends up actually being is 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? What we're going to do eventually is skip this middle step here and you'll say, oh, 2 to the third power, oh, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, right? But we want to get all of this down. So let's try another one here. Let's take 4 to the second power. What do you think that looks like? 4 to the second power. Does that mean 4 times 2? No! If you thought that, you haven't been paying attention. I'm yelling. Is this thing getting too loud? Just making sure. 4 to the second power. Take the base, multiply by the exponent, right? No. Base times itself 2 times. 4 times 4. And in this case, 4 times 4 is 16. What about if we get a longer one, like 8 to the fourth power. 8 to the fourth power would be 8 times 8 times 8, right? 8 times itself, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. 8 times 8 is 64. 64 times 8, I don't freaking know. So here's what I'm going to let you guys do. If I give you something crazy like that today, I'm going to bust open the calculator. I'm allowing it. I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm crazy like that. You guys can go to Google. Check out this calculator. I'll try to pull it in the top corner of my screen. Ah, yeah. Okay, and what you can do? Nope, don't do that. Is you can hit this little button down here on the corner. You can see this on my screen right there. If I want to do 8 to the fourth power, I would type 8. Click this little button right here next to the 0, and this is on the Google calculator. And then click 4. And that shows, just like on my paper here, 8 to the fourth power, I've got 8 to the fourth power. And if you do that, you click equals, and it tells you what 8 to the fourth power is. And you can see that's a really big number. 8 to the fourth power. Some people would think 8 times 4 is 32, but that's not what 8 to the fourth power is. It means 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. And those numbers get really big really fast. I'll show you why, because watch what happens. If I clear this out, I do 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. 4,096. Same thing, right? And you can see because 8 times 8 is 64. And 64 times 8 is 512. And 512 times 8 is 4,096. So you can see how that works. So I could also give you something like a decimal. But again, I'm letting you use a calculator, so I don't want to hear it. Use decimal and say 1.5 to the third power. Okay, even though it's a decimal, the same rules still apply. It's literally just this base times the exponent, right? No, it's the base times itself that many times, right? 1.5 times 1.5 times 1.5. Right? We can put this in the calculator over here, see what that'll be. We know it's not going to be too big of a number. 1.5 is really small, just slightly bigger than 1. So let's do 1.5. Click that little button right here to the third power. Let's make sure it looks like 1.5 to the third power. It sure does. Click equals 30.375, and that seems like a reasonable answer. This one was 4,096. Right? So this is what we're doing today, guys. I want to quickly go over the couple of the questions. So I don't want to hear any questions about these ones unless something's really confusing to you, because I'm going to give you the answers right now. We're going to go through these vocabulary words. I want you to know them and have them in your brains and ready to go. Number 1 on your assignment today says a blank tells how many times a base is used as a factor of multiplication. That's asking what this number up here is. This is the number that tells you how many times you use the base, right? So 10 to the fourth power would be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, right? That little number right there is what it's asking us about. That right there is called an exponent. That little number at the top is called the exponent. And that tells us how many times we use the base as a factor. The next one. Another name for an exponent is a value. Have I said that? No. A base? That's not what an exponent is, right? An exponent is a little number up top. A form? No. You might have heard me say this a few times in this video. A power. A power is another name for that little number up top, right? An exponent. The next question. The blank is a factor being raised to the power. And if you refer back to our question up here, this is what was being used as a factor, right? What is that big part of the bottom, right? If the power was 10 to the fourth power, what is this thing right here called? I've said it many times now. It's called the base. That is the factor that's being raised to the power. Couple more questions here I'm going to give you guys the answer to, just because I want to make sure you have the vocab down. The next one, a number written with a base and an exponent is in exponential form. That's what we call that, right? When it has a base and an exponent. When it has both this and this, it's called an exponent, right? It's called an exponential form. And then, real quickly, identify the parts of these. The first one here, identify the circled number. Is this the base, the exponent, or is this exponential form? It's in exponential form. Is that number right there, the little one up top, the base or the exponent? If you said exponent, good job. And then the big number at the bottom, right? The one that's used as a factor to multiply, that is the base. Good luck on the assignment today, guys. Let me know if you need me. Hopefully a lot of this is review, but it's good practice for what we're getting into. Have a good day. See you guys.